when you're trying to search for a ton of jobs and you're in that space and you're trying to get into sports, I think the big thing that I can recommend is Party People. What's going on? My name is Mitch, and this is the first episode of, I don't know what we're going to call this quite yet, but it's something. That's all that matters. We started the first episode. Hopefully, cheers to many more in wherever this takes me. Or if I stop by the 21st episode, because I heard a statistic that 90% of podcasts don't necessarily make it past the 21st episode. So congratulations. If you do that, then you're in the top 0.001% of podcasters in the United States, or anywhere for that matter. But congratulations from me to you. Anyways, a little bit about me. I grew up in the Silicon Valley, which is, for those that do not know, in the Bay Area. And I grew up with my two parents who still live in Silicon Valley to this day, and I currently live in San Francisco. I'm not going to say what part of San Francisco, but I live in San Francisco. And no, I do not work in tech, which is kind of funny, but I do work at a startup. But yeah, background. I played sports growing up, baseball, football. Those were the main two. The other ones I wasn't really good at, even though I tried them, just didn't pique my interest. But mainly football and baseball. Quarterback for 2 years, and then I played defensive end my senior year because I went through a little bit of growth spurt. And then baseball, I got the opportunity to play in college at Santa Barbara City Junior College, and then I played at San Francisco State for 2.5 years. A couple of my hobbies, as you guys can probably tell, one of them is soon to be, I have to stop, which is, I think, and I can't continue doing it because they're too expensive. But obviously, Jordans, I think, are heading that way. I only have 4 pairs, and suddenly I instantly got into them, and it's an expensive hobby. So if you have, and I bet anybody else can attest to that too. But a couple of my other hobbies, writing, reading, just enjoy being outside, working out, running a ton. I think I've been, since January, I've spent a ton of time working out. I think I've burned over 50,000 calories each month. And one of my New Year's resolutions, which, not a big New Year's resolution guy, but was to get into the best shape of my life. And I think I'm officially there. But yeah, I've been doing a ton of reading lately. I'm probably going to give you guys all my best books to read. There's a couple that I have to reread for the sake of, they're just too good. The first one that I'm reading, The Almanac of Naval, is superb. And then that top book, the blue one, is also really phenomenal. Called The Algebra of Happiness, which I'm going to have to read it because it's definitely too in depth. But this isn't a podcast about reading, which hopefully, no, not hopefully. I think we'll talk about books. I like reading a lot, so we'll definitely talk about those. Grew up a huge Bay Area sports guy. Niners, Raiders, Giants, you name it. It's like I said, I was a college baseball player, so baseball was my first love. And then now I'm a diehard 49ers fan, which is a different story. So if you like the 49ers, please give me all the smoke. But transitioning into how I got my job. So what do? I work for a sports and entertainment talent agency, specifically trying to come up with ideas how we can leverage influencers and our network of shows that we have. The company that I'm with, I won't name them because I think that I don't want to get into a legal suit with them, even though I work for them. So I don't even think that's possible. But they are have like 20 million followers across all their social platforms, which is blows my mind still to this day. But so I got a job with them, and then before that, I worked at another sports and entertainment talent agency. Um, Worked with some of the best sports brands in the world. You know, from NFL teams, NBA teams, NHL, uh, more pro baseball teams, you name it. We were helping them. It was an amazing experience, which kind of gets me to that first point is how did I get it? How did I get into that if I didn't study it in college, which I was one of the I'm a part of that statistic, as probably many others are, that you end up in a field that you didn't study in college, which is always interesting when you think about it. So also I live right next to a busy street, so if you guys hear noises, that's probably other cars, motorcycles, you name it. But back on track here. So I worked at a sports and entertainment talent agency, and the first one, NFL teams, NHL, NBA, MLB, name it. So in college, COVID hits. While I was playing baseball, we were traveling down to Southern California, and much like you guys remember and I remember, everything just shuts down. So we're heading on a bus. We get a call from the NCAA basically telling them, hey, we're not playing anymore. And we kind of just said, okay. And then we travel back home, and then I'm sitting with my dad because I was commuting for a little while there too, back and forth from San Francisco. So he's driving me back home from the practice field, and we're talking, and I'm just like, well, I don't know what I'm gonna do. It's like, we still ended up going to school, right? But it was kind of that weird period where now we were all going to be inside, and nobody wants to go outside, and everybody's scared. So somehow, laying around my house, I found $80 in Amazon gift cards. So I was like, okay. I was like, I have these gift cards. I have a pretty good PC at the time. It was like something I bought from Best Buy, and I told myself, let's give this streaming video games a try. So did it about until summer, and then that's when I really saw it take off. I started streaming a game called Rocket League because it was the only game my PC could take without it technically crashing all the time. So the Call of Duties, the fun games I couldn't necessarily play, but I actually played Rocket League and I was pretty good at it. And I started posting on the TikToks and the YouTubes, and next thing you know, it was a little bit of trial and error at first, but we got to a point where I grew my TikTok page, my gaming TikTok page, to about 85,000 followers strong, and I was pretty stoked on it. Not a whole lot of experience in editing my own videos, but I think with kind of those scenarios, you come and you learn, and the opportunities start arising. People start reaching out to you. Hey, make me a video for this. Make me a video for that. You start getting tons and tons of emails with brands trying to work with you. And the success was awesome. I started streaming in front of 160 people when there was an update, and I was working at a retail store, living at home, and then I was making some extra dough on top of that from my Twitch money. So then you start upgrading as you go along with different PC parts, and yeah, I was able to do that. And then I saw a ton of success, and then with TikTok, with them they were about to become banned at that time. I forgot the year that it was, but it was that summer. And then fast forward to, I think it was 2019 September. Yeah, September of 2019, they come out with YouTube Shorts, and basically YouTube's short form content platform where you could post much to the same like TikTok and the Instagram Reels. And I was like, okay, well, we'll see what happens. And then surely enough, started doing that same thing and then saw the same amount of success on there that I saw on TikTok, which was absolutely insane. And grew my channel to 50,000 subscribers in about 3 months, which was nuts. So got about halfway to 100,000. I was like, wow. I was like, this is something that I really enjoy. I like doing it. And then kind of stopped growing. Like any creator, I think runs into the problem where how do I grow when you reach a plateau? And I think for anybody, it's really hard to figure out because you stop bringing people value and you can't continue to do the same thing over and over again. And I kind of learned that the hard way, and I kind of lost track of what I wanted to do and how I was going to keep growing and try to continue that same success. And it's always hard. It's always like a fine line of, because you don't want to copy other people and take what they're doing and then, try to make it into your own thing. And, there's tons and tons of YouTube videos out there with Rocket League creators that they all do the same thing and they all try to, change up the videos that they make, but it's usually all along the same premise. But, it taught me a valuable lesson about, what I wanted to do and what I learned from it. And, it's like I said, I hit a plateau and then I started seeing my followers and my viewers going down, not necessarily losing followers, but just saw my viewers on Twitch going down. And I was just like, I have a ton of my life ahead of me. I don't want to be worrying about, clicks, likes, comments, nasty comments on the internet, because people, when you're at that stage, they just keep on attacking you, and it's never fun, when you get a YouTube comment on there and it's like, hey, you actually suck, you don't, and it's never any fun. It's a real deflator, and then it gets to you, and then it just kind of spirals and it puts you in a really bad mood. So I kind of just didn't want to do it anymore, so I kind of just faded away. And and then a lot of the other people that are still RO creators to this day are still pretty big. Like there's been a couple that have seen extreme success and I'm super happy for them, but it just wasn't for me. And I was ready to kind of do something else, but I knew that I wanted to stay in the social media space and kind of just see where it would take me, because I still liked making videos. I still liked the rush that it gives you when something starts popping off and you start doing well, but I just wanted to be behind the scenes for a little while and kind of see if I can do it for another company and see if I can do it in pro sports. So then fast forward about a year, I graduate from college. I'm still working at the retail store, and graduate from college in that May and start doing the classic college kid, 24-year-old, 23-year-old, searching on LinkedIn for hours a day, fixing your resume. And then I came across this one company where I actually got a call back. And funny that I mentioned it, I actually learned and knew I knew the creator. I'm thinking about still creating content now, but I knew the recruiter because I played against him in college. Well, not in college, high school. We played against each other in Arizona. So him and I had about a 30-minute conversation. It was great. Just talked baseball basically the whole entire time, and then asked me a couple of questions. Shout out Freddie. And then I started the interview process and leveraged my knowledge of how I know platforms, the TikTok algorithm, the YouTube Shorts algorithm. And when you're trying to search for a ton of jobs and you're in that space and you're trying to get into sports, I think the big thing that I can recommend is don't get discouraged, because once you get your foot in the door, you're in the door. And then your network's going to grow and you're going to start talking to people and then talk about their different experiences in the sports and entertainment world. And, it opens your eyes. And I had some really interesting conversations with people that had worked in the NFL before, had worked in the NBA, the MLB, and it's not as glamorous as you think it is. And it's cool that you get to go to the games, you get to meet these people, you get to meet the players, but I've heard through the grapevine that it's not as glamorous as you would think it is. And it's a grind. It's like anything, you got a 162 game season sometimes for Major League Baseball. You're traveling a ton. You're always on a plane. It feels like you're going to be living life out of a suitcase. And there's just sometimes it's just a grind like people talk about, and that really opened my eyes in talking with people, and I'm kind of glad that I started off in the agency space and kind of learned from them and got the opportunity to kind of help these different teams, big brands, about how they can leverage their players and come up with ideas for graphics. And I was one of the many people, like I think I mentioned it earlier, that I did not study marketing in college. I studied criminal justice and international relations. I wanted to go into security. I wanted to work for the government at some point, or, locally or state, somewhere around there. But it just wasn't working out for me. It kind of didn't help that I plastered my face all over the internet, teaching kids how to get better at a game that involved car soccer and boosters. And it was definitely an eye-opening experience. Like, I was kind of surprised. I didn't start off as on salary. I was hourly at the time, and really just, trying to make a name for myself and just trying to prove myself. The people that I met there were amazing. Just definitely a great experience. The counts that I got to work on, it was like a dream. I was there for a year and a half, and I just started at this new company that I'm at currently. Been here for 2 weeks, but I did also at the other company that I was at work on a account that was for a pretty big network that aired football, so that was pretty amazing too. And getting to work some late nights on Thursdays with some of my best friends and just talk football, and just really just get to have that camaraderie again like you get in college sports with a group of people that is simply fantastic. Some of the best memories that I've ever had, I think, in my life were talking with them at 11:45 at night, just, planning our next day for content and, graphics and stuff like that. But it was just simply some of the best moments, and I've learned a ton from it. And that's kind of what made me start here, was trying to teach people and kind of give some feedback, some advice to people that are trying to get into the sports space, and try to, I guess, just come up with ideas and what it's going to be like working in that space, and for a sports and talent agency, kind of segueing into kind of what I want this to be about, which is, working in sports and what it's like in the talent agency realm. Give advice on how to come up with ideas and structure your days. Basically how to get your foot in the door. Where do I think social media is heading with all of the restrictions and, bans that are trying to come out, and what are the next big platforms? Staying up to date, brands that I think are doing extremely well, trying to kind of navigate the space, whether that's in the football world, the NBA, MLB. Also, how much I love YouTube. I think I love YouTube. I'm always on it, listening to podcasts, just looking for ways that you can gain that upper hand in marketing, I think is extremely crucial. Trying to teach people stuff, and, your knowledge sometimes is in a different space than somebody else's knowledge. For example, like I grew up on Instagram. I grew up on YouTube. I grew up on Twitter, barely early stages of Facebook. So also just kind of trying to spread the love for YouTube and teaching people how to get better at it if that's what they're trying to learn. I think YouTube is one of the greatest things in the world. I read a study the other day that it said in 2018, 51% of people were on YouTube trying to learn something, which I think is extremely valuable. And I think it's a great space to be on if you're a creator, or you can bring anybody any sort of value, whether that's underwater basket weaving, knitting. If you have a passion, YouTube definitely has a space there for you, trying to teach people how to get better at something, which I think is amazing. And also gaming and social media. I think, trying to intertwine the two. I think there's going to be an account that I'm coming up on in my new job that I'm going to be working on, and I can link it down in the description if you guys want to kind of check it out. But talk about the gaming space and social media, I think is going to be fun. I think going back to my roots and how I first got started in social media was going to be really fun, which was gaming. And I think it's going to help diversify my knowledge too, which I'm really looking forward to. Kind of deep diving in there and trying to grow that page. So I think segueing into like the final couple thoughts here. Socials, where to find me, I'll leave those down in the description. I totally get that I'm probably only going to be the only one that listens to this video, which is totally cool. But if you do and you are out there, I'll leave something down there for you guys to follow me. This is going to be 1 to 2 times a week max. I think I don't. If we continue to, like it and I become good at it, then we'll keep kind of progressing. And also, if you ever have any questions, please leave a comment, and I would love to kind of talk it out in the comments. And if there's anything that you guys want to bring up or talk about, then we can, kind of hash it out and just talk about it within the video. But if you guys did tune in, appreciate it. Make sure you guys hit that like button for me. I think it's going to help the success of this channel. Also hit the subscribe button too, please. That would be amazing. And then I got to learn how to put these on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, but we'll see. I think that's later on down the line. I think the first one, just getting the first one out of the way, was huge. And, also going to be making, these videos into smaller TikToks, if short form's your thing, YouTube shorts. So I definitely have to rewatch this. And, and it's kind of funny at this early stage, doing everything yourself is kind of the other thing that you have to learn to do. So got to make the thumbnails, the titles. Titles are the easy part. The thumbnail is going to be a little bit interesting, but we'll get there. It gets me back into my Photoshop game after I've been putting that off for about 3 weeks now after making my own designs, but maybe I'll show those eventually. So anyways, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Like I said, smash that like button, hit the subscribe also, and then all of my social media channels will be down in the description, and I will talk to you guys next time.